All right, at 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the January 24th Madison City Council to order, please. And we have Pastor Tolliver with Cornerstone Word of Life Church here to lead us in prayer.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for the honor of doing this. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you that it is a day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Father, your word tells us in 1 Timothy chapter 2 that we are to pray for all men, kings and those that are in authority, that we might lead a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and honor. For it is right in your eyes so that all men can be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth. Father, tonight I pray specifically for Mayor Finley. I pray for our council members, Mara Robleski, Connie Spears, Teddy Powell, Greg Shaw, Renee Bartlett, Karen Denzin, and John Seifert, for your wisdom to know what to do, how to do, and when to do it. Father, I thank you for your counsel to help them, to guide them in every decision that they're making this evening. Father, we thank you for your divine protection over them and their families as they live their lives in service to our community. Thank you for your protection over our law enforcement, our agencies, our firefighters, our first responders. Father, those who are on the front lines, those who are servicemen and women throughout our community. Father, I thank you for protection over our schools, our teachers, our administrators, and our students, and everyone throughout our community. We thank you for watching over us. We pray for their protection, but we also pray for your direction in our lives, for all those who are placed in positions of responsibility to make decisions for us. And so, Father, I thank you for your blessing upon the city of Madison. I thank you, Father, for the future that it has. I thank you, Father, for commerce. I thank you, Father, for growth and for foresight for these ones that are guiding us. And I thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. Would you please join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Here.
Councilmember Powell.
Here.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Here.
Councilmember Denzin.
Here.
Councilmember Seifert.
Here. And we have a quorum, so we'll move forward. Are there any amendments to the printed agenda?
I have one addition, and this is Resolution 2022-44R to allow the mayor to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement with Hugh Wright McAnally Incorporated for engineering consulting services. And this will go under the mayor's line, and that's located at 5A6 on the agenda.
5A6. Okay. If there's no other changes, we'll move forward with that, and I'll look for approval of minutes from the January 10th.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion is second. Is there any discussion? If not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzin.
Aye.
And motion passes. Next, move into presentation and awards, and we'll start with Ms. Dorothy Havens with K-Tech.
Good evening. It's nice to see you. I want to first thank you so much for your support of K-Tech. K-Tech is in the proud city of Madison. We are a workforce initiative, part of the Kids to Love Foundation. We teach mechatronics, robotics, soldering, and virtual reality. And thanks to your funding, we added virtual reality last year. We launched the Virtual Reality Academy with the Bob Jones Engineering Group, and it was the first time that we had offered that program. We did it to test out the innovative program of virtual reality. Virtual reality is where we're teaching our students to create the virtual experiences. Those experiences are used in training. There are a lot of companies here that are using those. That was very successful, and we are offering Virtual Reality Academy again this year and requesting your funding support for the academy. We also have, through this program, developed college credit for our courses that we are teaching, and the college credit is good not only at the community college system level, but also at universities all over the United States. So we're very excited about that. So we'll be starting up the next Virtual Reality Academy on February 1st. We also, through our Megatronics program, have awarded through Megatronics, Robotics, and Soldering 253 certifications since we started in 2016, and we were honored to receive from the Alabama Automotive Association the Service Provider of the Year Award in 2021 for our work in the automotive industry. Proud to be part of Madison. Madison City Schools have been fabulous to work with. Madison officials, Paul Finley is one of our ambassadors. He's fabulous to work with. We're very proud to be part of Madison, and we thank you for your support.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Chip Cherry with the Huntsville Chamber.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, sir. All right. Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be here tonight, and it's an honor to be a partner with you in growing our community as a whole. And I just want to give you a quick update on kind of where the progress that we're making as a community in a growth and diversification of our economy. First of all, our chamber has 172 of our members' organizations are in the city of Madison, representing about 8,100 employees and 7% of our overall membership base. We serve as a lead for economic development in our community, and we're, as such, managing 35 projects at the current time, representing a potential 4,000 or 5,000 jobs and $4.8 billion investment. There's a lot of very large projects that are floating around right now, and then that makes up a couple of projects make up the bulk of that. And your capture rate for a number of the projects that will be illustrated here in a minute is about 15% of the workforce comes from the city of Madison. We land a large project, and I have a couple of examples of that coming up. Over the last 14 years, we have worked 22 expansions to 2 new locations in the city of Madison, resulting in 516 jobs and $62 million in new direct investment. We greatly appreciate the partnership. Mayor Finley is part of our economic development team, as is the staff here, and we greatly appreciate your partnership and engagement. You participated in supporting us being able to secure the MTM project, and the good news is next week, they will be, actually this week, sorry, they'll be starting the line off of the new Mazda vehicle, so that'll put both production lines in play. And you may have noticed during the national championship game, didn't go quite as expected, but you saw the new Corolla Cross being advertised in that, and that vehicle is made right here in our community. So that will result in 600 of Madison residents being able to secure employment at MTM, roughly $900,000 a year. That translates into tax revenue for the city here, which, if you calculate that over 20 years, is about $18 million. Amazon, so we have 2 projects with Amazon, and the impact is 63 new residents or new jobs for residents in the city, about $71,000 a year in revenue, or $1.4 million over the next 20 years. Blue Origin, a huge success, and in a minute we'll get to the heat map of where people work, and you can see where your residents go to work, but Blue Origin was a significant investment for our community and our region, and actually putting the test stand back into action at NASA on Redstone Well, smoke and fire is a good thing, so we'll be able to see that hopefully soon when everything gets finished out there. That results in about $170,000 when everything's ramped up in revenue to the city, and about $3.4 million over a 20-year period. Polaris, great partner in the community, and as they ramp up, 235 residents are anticipated to be working out there. A total of $363,000 a year, or $7.3 million over 20 years in additional revenue. And then GE Aviation's quite quietly tucked up there in Greenbrier, but we anticipate 35 residents will be employed there, about $50,000 in revenue and $1 million over the next 20 years. Next slide's the one I printed in the back, so you can actually see it. So you've got an extra slide of that because I looked at it and I said, "There's no way anybody's going to be able to read that unless you have really, really good eyes or strong glasses." This kind of just shows how interdependent that we are. You have on a daily basis an in-migration of 14,627 people into your workforce a day. You have 2,869 people who actually live and work in the city of Madison. And then you have 19,369 people who leave every day to go to work outside of your community. Actually, outside of your city limits, but in our community. The next one is a very telling chart. It just shows the heat map of where the residents work. And it's kind of hard to believe that you have 2,900 people that actually go over 50 miles away to go to work. But I just thought you might be interested in seeing that heat map and distribution. It just shows how interconnected our community is. As you start overlaying this with other communities, you start seeing that heat map kind of shows how connected we all are. And then our employment growth, you can see we've had a 25% employment growth in the city of Madison, kind of reflects kind of the growth of the community and what's been happening in retail and other employment opportunities in the city. So a growth from 2007 to 2021 of 5,300 new workers in your community. So we have 3 active projects out of the 35 that are considering location here in Madison County. We present sites working with your IDB and staff to make sure that we have an accurate representation of that. Probably the most submitted site that we've had is the one on County Line Road that's owned by the UAH Foundation. So a lot of activities going on, and I would say, just to point out again, that we would not be as successful as we are as a region in recruiting people nationwide if it were not for you guys and the partnership that you have here. We have to recruit. We have about 32 people a day moving into the region. To meet all of our employment needs, we've got to get that number up close to 50. And part of the overall attractiveness of the region is the blend of opportunities we have here, both for schools and communities that people can select as their home. And we market the entire region when we go out and sell projects. Be happy to entertain any questions, and thank you for the time.
Any questions?
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Ms. Tina Clark from Madison Arts Council to talk about Christopher Card Lane.
Good evening, Mayor Finley, Council President Shaw, council members. I'm here tonight because I wanted to give out the awards for Christmas Card Lane. We have 2 cards that were the best for Christmas Card Lane this year. There's supposed to be a picture. Can you guys, there you go. This card was a really good card. This one was done by Sandra Smith, and her design, The Grinch That Stole Christmas closing line, as you can read up there, there's a special part of hers. It says that in the bottom stanza, she has a 3. And I'm trying to find it. Do y'all see that 3 up there, a special?
Yes.
Yes, that is something that her grandfather started with her and her family, and it's supposed to mean I love you. So that was kind of neat, what she did there, but I love this card. And Miss Sandra is our 2nd place winner, and if she could come up here and get her award. Like the award. Thank you so much. It's so nice working with you. You want to, I want to take a picture. Sure, that's okay. Well, I don't have, my counterpart's sick, that's why she's not here. Okay. I left it at home, thank you. I left it at home by accident. I was walking out, left it on the table. Thank goodness for cell phones and pictures. Okay, our next card, you can go ahead and flip the next card.
They're working on
No.
it. I hear you.
There we go. This card was done by two high school students at James Clements High School. And Dr. Nichols is here tonight because I asked him if he would join us in giving these two young people their award. And if Ava and Walker can come up here. Dr. Nichols? You must not have heard his name. Now, their card, as you see, they incorporated the Trash Pandas little guy up there, and that was really neat. Their Christmas design says Christmas is their favorite time of the year, so it is fitting to have Rocket, the raccoon, in a sleigh riding all around Madison and Huntsville with a Welcome to Alabama sign to welcome travelers. And we're so glad that they decided to do this. And I got it right, you're juniors, right? Okay, so I expect you to do this again next year, right? Okay, good. And that's all that I had tonight. I was going to make it short and sweet, and that was it, short and
Very
sweet.
good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you so much, Tina. Next, we have, Commander, Larry Vanoy for the Police Officer and Firefighter of the Year.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so I'm commander of the American Legion Post, the Madison American Legion Post 229, and also the District 12 commander for the American Legion. I'm very happy here tonight to recognize some very special individuals before the council and the mayor. I do want to bring out a word, though, of course, our sympathies to those and prayers to those police officers that have lost their lives very recently. It's a tragic event for this nation, a very embarrassing situation for this country, something we ought to deal with and we need to deal with. And my heart goes out to all those police officers and firefighters and all those others that provide public safety to our community. We wouldn't be the community we are, the country we are, without you. So thank you very much. So our American Legion Post, about 300 strong members, had a very successful oratorical contest this past weekend. Thanks to the generosity of the city of letting us use your facilities, we held that here yesterday and had 5 candidates that recite a speech, a 10-minute speech about the Constitution, and then they have another 3 to 5 minute speech that they have to present with a very short notice of what that topic's going to be. That went out very well. We've had great successes within the community. It's a county-wide event, and I've shared with you some of the successes we've had at Boys State and Girls State. We've also had year before last, a state winner for the oratorical contest as well from our community. So kudos to those individuals that have such a difficult time, or not difficult, but it's very taxing and hard to put together a presentation before your peers and from other individuals that are doing this judging. But it's a great event for what the American Legion does. We also got a junior shooters. Just real quick, summarizing what's coming up real quick. We got a junior shooters program that's going to be starting up, a competition taking place real soon. We got a drill team competition coming up. JROTC awards are happening here within the next 2 months. American Legion Baseball is going to crank up. We help the city with a pitch, hit, and run competition that happens this spring. So there's just a few of the things that we are getting ready to do this early this year. But tonight we're going to recognize both a police department, law enforcement officer, and a firefighter of the year. Those 2 awards fall under a pillar. We've got 4 pillars. That pillar is the national security pillar, and it's a tenet of that pillar to recognize those individuals that excel within those 2 departments. The American Legion gives its National Law Enforcement Officer of the Year to a well-rounded law enforcement officer who has exceeded the duty requirements that is expected of him in his or her position and has demonstrated a distinct pattern of community service coupled with professional achievement. Tonight I have Gene Downs, my vice commander. She's gonna read the citation for the Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, and following that, we'll do the Firefighter of the Year. So, Jean?
Hi, everybody. This is the 2021 Madison Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. This is Russ Owens. Russ started with the Madison Police Department in September of 2006. Officer Owens was on patrol until August of 2013, and then he moved over to the traffic unit. After a year in traffic, he was then assigned to the Investigations Division in the Street Crimes Unit in August of 2014. He was in the Street Crimes Unit until May of 2019. He was then assigned to the Madison County Drug Task Force as an agent. His work there consists of drug buys, arrests, search warrants, and seizures. He has been a very effective asset to the Drug Task Force. Russ Owens also became a member of the Madison SWAT team in February of 2013, where he still serves. As a detective for the Madison Police Department, Russ also takes criminal calls and works everything from robberies to death investigations. Agent Owens was awarded the Life Saving Award in February 2021 after he and 2 other agents revived a fellow agent that had been exposed to fentanyl while working a case. He assisted in doing CPR and reviving the agent. Russ is an asset to the Madison Police Department as well as the Madison County Drug Task Force. And it was noted that Russ has a 15-year-old son, Jet. Congratulations. Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Congratulations. I mentioned lovely wife and mother, and, you there, right? Oh, they're all there. Your sister, your mom, dad, son. Congratulations. I'm very proud of them both. I'm very proud of them. Okay. Thank you. We're gonna go out and take pictures in just a moment. So hang tight over here. We're gonna recognize the firefighter.
So firefighter Ken Howard. So I'm going to read the citation. "2021 Madison Fire and Rescue Firefighter of the Year is Kenneth Howard. Ken and his wife Kim live in Madison with their 2 children, ages 5 and 8. Ken has been with the department for 7 years. He served as a firefighter and paramedic for 5 years and has served as driver, engineer, and paramedic for the past 2 years. When we asked our members for nominations for this award, we supplemented the request with selection criteria. The criteria included that the candidate would have demonstrated qualities of dedication, loyalty, service, and professionalism. This year, we received detailed written recommendations outlining all of these attributes for Ken from both his shift captain and our chief of special operations. Ken seeks out opportunities to help his shift, to improve his station, and to enhance our service delivery. As an example, to separate crews during COVID-19, we moved our Station 1 engine company to the abandoned Public Works facility on Celtic Drive. Ken was one of several members instrumental in making that site a working firehouse. He donated personal household items to make it a nicer place and worked hard to create a livable facility. To date, he has made and mounted the firefighter flag plaque that is in the day room at this station and the fire hose flag that is in the kitchen of Station 1. Ken asked to lead the retrofit of one of our used pickup trucks to serve as a first response paramedic squad. This involved the design of equipment, placement, mounting brackets, mounting equipment, and troubleshooting the many items that needed repairs. This squad has been in service for a couple of months and has worked so well that we plan to keep it and utilize the platform for future squads. Ken is an accomplished driver, engineer, a proficient firefighter, and often the lead paramedic at incidents. This past year, he supervised the paramedic orientation program for 3 of our shift's new medics, helping to ensure excellent service for our citizens. Additionally, he serves as one of our SWAT team medics and serves on the Public Safety Unmanned Aircraft System Program, or drone program, as the lead ground support team member. And then finally, I have a quote from Chief Bailey. Ken's experience, his calm demeanor no matter the circumstances, his work ethic, and his positive spirit had led him to be a tremendous asset for his shift, for the department, and for the citizens of Madison. We're very fortunate to have him in our ranks. I want to congratulate Driver Engineer Ken Howard on this well-deserved award of Madison Firefighter of the Year for 2021.
Hey, to everybody in the Legion, we certainly appreciate everything you guys are doing. And you can hear those activities. You guys are putting a ton of effort into that in our city, and we truly appreciate it. Thank you guys all for what you're doing.
Thank you so much. All right, next is public comments, and the only one we have signed tonight is Ms. Jackie Reed.
Right here.
This is a new bunch that I've come to. I used to come all the time, but I appreciate you, Mayor Finley, all you new city council members. I hadn't known. I used to never miss a meeting out here. But I appreciate you, and it's good to see you, glad to know you. I'm from Huntsville, you know. But I really stand up for Madison, too. Big part of Madison. I guess my son was finding me some news the other night to write in Speaking Out News. I write in a black newspaper called Speaking Out News. And I had to call him for 15 years. He never corrects me when I write the paper. And politics is what it's all about. Maybe that's bad. But anyway, I came out here and my son pulled up. I didn't get a paper Sunday, and I was trying to find something to write about. And I hit the wrong thing. Madison's trying to hire a city manager. It hit me wrong, and I've been on it ever since then. And, you know, I've been out here when Trulock and Wells was out here. Both of them was out here, and they tried to do the same thing. I mean, to the committee meetings, they tried to do the same thing. But I don't think that the public is involved enough. We got all this going over in Huntsville. I call our man a city manager, and he's administrative assistant, but I call him a city manager over there, and they don't like that because I know what they stand for. But the mayor is the people, the one that they vote for, the public. They hold him accountable, and they hold you all accountable. And a professional, to me, is some of the good old boy system, some of the developers. It's the wrap-up system. But you need a good administrative assistant to say here to give you presentations, like kept up there. But up there, battle just sits there and don't do what I think you ought to do. We got people giving presentations, and all they do is hurry up and vote, and we are ruining Huntsville. I'm sorry. You don't live in a big city like that. I love Huntsville. I've been here since 1958, and I've seen run for mayor 9 times and hadn't been kicked out yet. But anyway, and I love politics, and I love the people, and I love the people that run, because you've got a tough job. It's a tough job, it really is. But I feel that like a administrative assistant with you all checking them all out for Mayor Finley is better than a city manager. I can't go along with that title, city manager, and everything I read in here just turned my hair gray. I may have to dye it again, but I have a problem. I'd like to go to the committee meeting. I've been to the others when Wells and Trulock came to the committee. I saw all these big dogs sitting there at that meeting trying to tell them how to run it. But the public is the people that put you in office. And the public needs to be more involved and help relieve him. And you all get more involved with the public if you have to. Maybe you do, I don't know you that well, but Madison is great. And I love Madison. And don't let it overrun like Huntsville's running. We're tearing up Huntsville. We're too big, too fast. Public's not being involved like it should. But I love y'all. I'll be back. But I'm not through that city manager thing yet. Y'all think a lot about it before you do it. A professional is just a good old boy system. Somebody put him there for a reason. Don't let that happen. Y'all be responsible for your jobs. Let him have an administrative assistant and help him. And Madison is doing great and doing good, and I helped you all try to get that
Yes, ma'am.
ball field.
Trying to wrap it up, Ms. Reed.
Okay, I helped y'all get that ball field because Battle's going to take it away from you if you hadn't voted on it. Thank
Yes,
you very
ma'am.
much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reed. Thank you. Does anyone else like to address council? Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Ed Son. Mayor Finley, good to see you again.
See you too, Ed.
Members, I know I emailed the majority of you about our endeavor of Joe and I trying to get this international squad here to play an international soccer against our girls here in Madison City. So I'm just basically here to answer any questions that you have or anything like that. But I want to bring Joe, our director of coaching, who's going to be spearheading this to ensure that this great endeavor of these Polish girls coming down here to see what we do here and to be effective in the education tour here and also the cultural enlightenment of what they want to do here also. Joe?
Yes, thank you again for your time. That's what it's all about for us, is just realizing what we have an opportunity to pave the way for Poland this year and maybe again next year. But this is a professional team that if you think about it, like not quite as big as like a Tennessee Titans, but if we had a professional team in Alabama and they didn't play in the NFL, but they played, like Alabama would be playing in a league just before that, that's what they have. So they have not the money to fund these girls and these players that want the growth, that want to see the education side. So we've been looking to see how to factor that into the schools with the tours, and they don't have soccer in their education life. They don't have sports. They have sports and schools are like this, where in the U.S. we have it together. It's a student athlete that helps. So we want to really show that side of it, and for the actual soccer side of it, we want to be sure that we can compete. So that's what it brought me on, to make sure we have a good base, which we do, have been around the club team for a long time. So we feel confident we can give the girls exactly what they need for competition, but also to see we have good girls that role models here that can show them what that student athlete means and give that international, like that enlightenment portion of that. And in our financial projection, again, hopefully there's some questions and stuff, but it shows the money up front is what we would need help for, and then the permission to use some of the city facilities so we can see this as a Madison City-driven project, not a Joe project. We have ways to make sure that everything's legit. Been running the nonprofit organization Madison since 2017 by myself. Been helping with AYSO since 2009, so we can use those as monetary ways to see that the money's fit, and then once we raise the money, as you can see in the way the revenue sources, we'll have a net there, but we also guessed really high. We did do some legwork to make sure we had, these numbers aren't numbers we made up. We actually made calls and got in bids from bus drivers and hotels and restaurants, and so these are things we actually know prices of, and so that's our best sort of projection budget allocation we come up with. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, ladies.
Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is there anyone else? Not, we'll close public comments and move into the shortest consent agenda I've ever seen in 5 years.
It is, and our Finance Committee meeting was also short. Finance Committee met last week on January 18th. We've independently reviewed the bills that were paid, and I'm going to present the consent agenda, but I want to say a thank you to those who have submitted donations to the city, St. John Baptist Catholic Church, to support our Madison Nutrition Program at the Senior Center. We also have a private donation for the Senior Center. And then the Madison County Commission has made a significant donation to the Kids Kingdom project, $25,000, and also helped support our police in purchasing a Ford Explorer. So with that, I'd like to move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski, Councilmember Powell, Councilmember Denzine,
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to, presentation and reports, and we'll start with the mayor.
All right, and we're going to start with the proclamation for National Mentoring Month. Get that up there. Anybody here to help with this one? There we go. So let me read this real quickly come on up and stand with me, and I'll give you a chance to talk about it. We did this last time with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, who is someone, again, this year that we supported. So National Mentoring Month, whereas everyone remembers someone special, a neighbor, teacher, relative, or friend who ignited and or defended our potential. And whereas one way to return the favor is to mentor a child, every adult has something to offer. An hour a week can make a big difference in a child's life. A mentor does not have to change his or her life to change a child's life. So, and I think one of the last things that it says here, whereas research has shown that children engaged in the one-on-one professional supported mentoring programs like Big Brothers Big Sisters are more likely to finish high school, less likely to begin using drugs and alcohol, less likely to skip school or be involved in violence. And so, whereas in Madison, Alabama, there are many young people who want and would benefit from this, and whereas January has been designated as National Mentoring Month, I, Paul Finley, Mayor of the City of Madison, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2022 as National Mentoring Month in the City of Madison, and I'm happy to present this to you.
Thank you.
And then I will give you just a couple of seconds, if you'd like to talk a little bit about it.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is, well, it's dear to my heart. This is my third agency. We are working to do some school-based programming in Madison. We've actually been approached by the schools for this, but you all have graciously supported our endeavors to also initiate the Bigs in Blue program here. We're going to get Dave back. His little kind of left the program, so we're going to get Dave back. But that is the idea of using first responders as role models, and so that the kids that we work with sometimes don't necessarily see them as the enemy anymore.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate all you guys do.
Thank you so much.
All right, and then I think our second proclamation is Casey in the Junior League of Huntsville, and it is for the Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And as you guys come on up here, I'm going to read a little bit of this. I brought my glasses in, I don't even use them, so I don't know why I've got them. So. But this is, all of these are important, but I think this is one that became more relevant in the City of Madison even last year. But whereas human trafficking is a very real problem facing the world today, although it can take many forms, including debt bondage, forced marriage, slavery, and commercial sexual exploitation, in every case it goes against the core principles of individual freedom and civil rights that our state and nation stand for. The City of Madison, Alabama is committed to ensuring that our community remains on the front lines in combating this deplorable crime. And I'll read the next paragraph of whereas, due to the secretive and illegal nature, it is difficult to accurately quantify the extent of human trafficking. However, the U.S. Department of State estimates that anywhere between 600,000 and 800,000 people are trafficked across international borders each year. Just think about that for a minute, 600 to 800,000. Most victims of human trafficking are women or children who have been marginalized or isolated from society. The difficulty in grasping the full scope of this problem can be further compounded because people often turn a blind eye to it. So whereas we ask all residents of this community to join in us in raising the visibility of this crime, whose victims are all too often invisible, together we can become informed about the pressing issue and work to combat these injustices. So now, therefore, I, Paul Finley, Mayor of the City of Madison, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2022 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and I'm happy to present this to you guys.
my name's Casey McCabe. I am the co-chair for Abolish, which with the anti-sex trafficking with the Junior League of Huntsville. This is a relatively new program that the Junior League of Huntsville has taken on. Luckily, we are very well directed by the Junior League of Birmingham, and we have been working with all of the agencies, governmental and non-governmental, to help bring awareness. Just alone in the city of Madison, we basically have, do you guys know, like on the gas stations, whenever you pull up and you're getting gas and there's kind of different advertisements. So now there will be phone numbers, so victims of sex trafficking can make a phone call if they need to, and other awareness programs within the community. So we just appreciate your support, and we're excited to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next step would be, if we could please, to ask for council approval of resolution number 2022-007-R, approving the annual appropriation agreement with KTEC, a workforce initiative of Kids to Love Foundation, for their FY22 appropriation in the amount of $5,000 to be paid from the general operating account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, and I've been to those meetings where they give out those scholarships to those folks. It really, truly is continuing to make a difference, and workforce development is critical, and that leads me to Chip and them at the Huntsville Chamber, because they continue to create the jobs, and ask for your support of resolution number 2022-08-R, approving the annual appropriation agreement with the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce for their FY22 amount of $35,000 to be paid from the general operating account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Again, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
Chip, we always appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so next is a first reading for your all support on ordinance number 2022-21, and it's restrictions on the delivery of unsolicited written materials. And just to make sure that we would let folks know, anyone who on a Tuesday or Thursday or whatever day it is in the city of Madison who receives that yellow kind of orange packet at their driveway that's packaged as a newspaper but really is nothing but ads, this would get away and do away with that, give us some teeth to then say, no, thank you, that's not the way that we present data. We'll get more on that next council meeting for you to, if you would like to ask any additional questions. Megan has helped me accomplish that, and we took, I think, one they did in the city of Athens and made it a little bit more Madison-like. But I think this would give us the opportunity to say thank you, but no thank you. Lastly, we'll go to the request for resolution number 2022-44, and it's a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement with Pew Wright McAnally Incorporated.
Move to approve. Second. Motion and second. Is there any discussion?
Well, let me start by saying this, that can't tell you how much we appreciate Michelle and the team that is in engineering doing everything they can right now. But we have so much going on in this community that what this would give us the ability to do is have someone on call that we already have contractual agreements with, that Michelle and her team could utilize, Mary Beth could utilize in accomplishing many of the things that need to be done to continue to keep those things moving forward.
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes.
Thank you, guys. Two other quick things. It's always great to see Jackie Reed here. We, redid Old Madison Pike so she could easily get here. So, Jackie, we've done that for you. But she's, when it comes to the governance transition committee, nothing has been approved. As a matter of fact, if you'd like to obtain more information from the committee on why they made their recommendations at the last council meeting, we have a work session this coming Wednesday night at 5:30, and that will be one of the topics where the group will give their full report, and one of the folks from the group will be here to answer council's questions, so you can get more information on that. And then at that point, Megan would be talking about if council were to choose to move forward in either one of those directions on the two things that they proposed, how the city would legally accomplish that. So that's on next Wednesday at the work session. And also, a week from Wednesday, February 2nd, is the first meeting for the community of our comprehensive plan. It's Madison On Track 2045. And our goal there is to put a plan in place that helps Madison as we look basically 20 years out. And the community is how we get the most information. So next Wednesday, 5:30 here in these chambers, where you as a community can learn what we're trying to accomplish and how you in turn can share the information you want us to have to then be able to put the plan in place to manage this city in the best possible way we can. With that said, Greg, that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. Since Mara's out, we'll go to District Number 2.
Okay, I just wanted to bring to light, we had such an overwhelmingly great, response when we asked for people to, sign up for the Madison Police Advisory Commission, that I wanted to bring to light. We have a lot of other committees and commissions that citizens serve on and are appointed by either the mayor or the council. And in the next, between the expired terms that we currently have available and the open seats and the ones that are coming up in 2022, there are a little over 40 openings that are going to happen. We had, like I said, an overwhelming success in when we asked for people to apply for the Madison Police Advisory Commission. I'd love to see that kind of excitement about our others. I mean, we've got Planning Commission, we've got the Industrial Development Board, we've got the Beautification and Tree Board, the Cemeteries Board. We have all kinds, the Board of Education, we've got all kinds of different things. And I would encourage you to go to the Madison City website and look under the tab that says Boards and Committees and just do a little, work, seeing if there's a spot for you. And if there's not a spot for you, maybe you're there so that you can encourage some other good person to apply for a committee when you see that that would be something that they would be a perfect fit for. But I'd just like for y'all to know that there are a lot of opportunities for you to be involved, and this is an easy way to get involved with our city. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Connie. District Number 3.
No new business.
District Number 5.
Okay, I had mentioned that we had a finance committee on January 18th, and we discussed two resolutions that I'd like to bring before the council for your approval. The first resolution is number 2022-41-R, and that's a travel, training, and reimbursement policy for city council members. Prior to today, the city council members were not governed by the travel policies that the city was following, so we thought it was a good idea to put a policy in place that had clear guidance in terms of what we could do and how we would get approvals for travel.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Spears?
Aye.
Councilmember Powell?
Aye.
Council President Shaw?
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski? Councilmember Bartlett?
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine?
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert?
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, the second resolution is number 2022-43-R, and that's a revision of the city's current travel, training, and reimbursement policy for employees. We were trying to bring it up to date with some of the real costs of travel, and so there were some minor edits, and I present that for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell?
Aye.
Councilmember Spears?
Aye.
Council President Shaw?
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski? Councilmember Bartlett?
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine?
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert?
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, and then I'm pinch hitting for Councilmember Robleski, who's asked me to share her shop, Local Spotlight. This time, it's on Cineplanet 15. I'm just going to read the paragraph she sent to me. This is Madison's one and only movie theater. They recently underwent a huge renovation, and every seat is now a large luxury recliner. Every Tuesday is $5 day, where every showing is only $5 per person, and she thinks it would be a perfect venue for Valentine's Day, and don't forget the popcorn. You can visit their website for movies and showtimes. And finally, I wanted to share with you that in February, the first Saturday in February, February 5th, we're going to be holding the Rookie Rally Chess Tournament at Mill Creek Elementary, and I'm bringing this to your attention because it is being sponsored and supported by State Senator Tom Butler. And then on February 12th, Madison's going to be hosting the All-Girls State Chess Championship at Hexagon, and that is being sponsored and supported by State Senator Arthur Orrin. I'm very appreciative of our state senators as they support the chess program here in Madison, and that is it.
Thank you very much. District number 6.
Hi, I'd like to report on my involvement with the liaisons that I do. The first one is the senior center. I want to inform you that the senior center is closed right now. They're doing some heavy cleaning in there because of all the COVID cases right now. So they are closed, and because of that, also the Meals on Wheels are not being delivered. So if you know of anybody that lives, that's a neighbor of yours, nobody's checking on them either. So if you can just kind of be neighborly and just make sure that some of these people are doing okay during this time. It'll be closed until February 1st. So it's still a little bit of time yet that these people are on their own. So if you are a neighbor, please do consider checking in on them. Also, Madison Street Festival. Yes, we are definitely planning on doing the Street Festival this year. We're all excited. Our first meeting is going to be this coming Wednesday. There are lots of opportunities for serving on this. But put it on your calendar, first Saturday in October. And I do want to highlight that we are not just, it is just a great fun day, but we also are a huge fundraiser. We are working on getting our 501c3 right now. And I don't know how many people know this, but since 2012, we have given back $64,000 to the community in education grants. So besides a great thing, it is helpful to the community. So, but we really are planning on doing it this year, I promise. Also, Tree Beautification Board. On Saturday, we spent hours going over all the posters for the Arbor Day. And I just want to commend all of the children. There were 565 posters from the schools in Madison, 5th graders only. They put in so much work. They are wonderful posters. We had to pick the top 4 from each school, and then the number 1 from each school will go on to state competition. But I just wanted to bring forward that the students are they're wonderful artists, and the ideas are wonderful. And we will be presenting the winning things in the end of February, I believe, is when we'll have it at the City Council, to just give these kids the credit. And also I want to thank the teachers and the schools that supported this, because without them it couldn't have happened. Also, we did have the Madison Police Citizen Advisory Committee meeting last week, tie-in with what Mayor Finley talked about with the human trafficking awareness. Officer Josh McCready from the Department of Homeland Security came and spoke. It was so educational. It was very eye-opening to me. If you see something and it doesn't look right, say something about it. These things they just go right underneath the radar, and it's so tragic for the victims. So really, just be aware. There are going to be opportunities to learn more about this human trafficking issue. But I really appreciated Josh McCready's words, and especially with the cell phones and kids having these cell phones. It's so easy for them to get caught up on things that they have no business being in. And finally, the MCAC, they're starting a newsletter. And if anybody would like to receive the monthly newsletter, all you have to do is contact rebecca.madisoncac@gmail.com, and she will put you on the newsletter. One other thing, to me it's very important that the citizens have a voice and that their voice be heard. So there are two road projects in my district, District 6, that are going to have public hearings. Okay, the two projects are the roundabout at the intersection of Eastview and Victoria, and also the extension of Sunset Boulevard that will connect to Hughes. So there's no date set for either of these initial stages yet, but if you live in these areas, please be aware that this is going to be happening, but there will be a public hearing, so come and voice. Michelle is great. She has been listening. Just for the Eastview one alone, there's been 19 citizens that have written into her saying what their concerns are, and she is listening. So it's just so important, I believe, for the citizens to be involved with these things in their city. So that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. District number 7.
One thing I've got, I want to thank Chief Bailey and Chief Williams for their work with Hemsey. I don't think it's ready for bring forward yet, but they're working hand in hand with them to obtain a couple of their box mount ambulances that will help aid our folks in servicing the citizens of Madison. So, understanding with Hemsey, I don't say they don't always come to our calls, but our guys, our folks are there a lot of times a lot quicker than they are. And I think Chief's understanding that and working hand in hand with them to see how we can better serve the citizens. So, and I can't remember, I don't want to say there's costs, I can't remember, but bottom line, there's a lot of coordination there going on, and I thank their leadership and working through that. So, that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Next is board committee and appointments. And we have a few tonight, and we'll start with Madison Station Historic Preservation Commission. Place number 1. Whose is that?
Is that you?
No, is it Mara?
Oh, I can do it. First appointment is for place 1. It's Opie Balch, and that'll be a term to serve 4 years.
Is there anyone else we want to
not for place
bring
1.
forward? If not, we will place Opie Balch in place 1.
And place number 2 is Dennis Vaughn, and he served on the committee for quite a long time, and it'll be also a reappointment for him.
Is there any other nominations? All right.
And finally, Zoning Board of Adjustments and Appeals is Miss Betty Fletcher, place 1. She's been there quite a long time, and it's for reappointment. She's done an excellent job, and I'd like to reappoint her as well.
All right. Is there anybody opposed to that? All right. That's it. Next is public hearings, and I'll have to recuse on this first one and let John.
They're analyzing.
While they queue this up, your first item is going to be proposed ordinance number 2021-367, and this is to rezone property that's located on Sullivan Street, and there we go. So the property's at 4084 Sullivan. It's just under an acre, and the request is to rezone this property from B1, which is our neighborhood business district, to B2, which is our community business district. As it's on. Reboot it.
Switch the next one, Toby, please.
Hey, Garrett?
There you go.
Okay. The property is located across from the downtown, kind of just across from Bradley Street. It is developed with an approximate 8,000 square foot building. You can see it there in the photograph. There is 2 tenant spaces. There's an existing tenant, which is On Point Dancewear, which is facing Sullivan, and then there is a vacant tenant space off of Gin Oaks or to the rear of the building. The property is zoned B1, which is that lighter pink color. Previously, it had been zoned B2. As you can see, surrounding the property is B1 and B2. So just a little history in terms of the zoning for this area. Back in 2013, the city decided it wanted to see investment in downtown Madison. And in recognition of the fact that the parcels in downtown Madison are smaller, not conventional commercial parcels that you might see along Hughes or County Line or Highway 72, it decided to retool the B1 regulations that the city has. And so it changed those regulations to be more neighborhood commercial, more in recognition of goals of the city for the downtown area, the smaller parcels, and so forth. And so in doing that, in changing the standards, they went about and changed the zoning for a portion of the downtown. And you can see that area highlighted in yellow. It's on the east side of Sullivan Street, and it included Bradley Street at the time. There was a conversation going on about zoning the entire downtown area, but it was a process, given the number of property owners and so forth. So there was a follow-up action in 2014, and that follow-up action included the areas, most of those areas in red, in Main Street, Church Street, and Sullivan Street, in which those properties were then changed to B1 zoning. And that was the time in which the subject property and the two properties directly north of it were also changed to B1. So they were changed from B2 to B1. Downtown previously it had a mixture of residential zoning primarily. And again, the goal of changing the zoning on the west side of Sullivan Street was to create a buffer and really to kind of look at ways to expand the downtown footprint, if you will, and to make sure that whatever was developing on the west side of Sullivan was going to be consistent with the city's goals for the downtown itself and the historic nature of the downtown. So the B1, so the applicant has requested to change this property B2 because they want to have a tenant that's not allowed in the B1 regulations. They wanted to put a laundromat in the vacant tenant space at the building. B1 regulations do not allow laundromats. However, the B1 regulations do allow for a variety of uses. They allow for restaurants, brew pubs, office, retail. So from staff's perspective, there are a lot of different tenant options for this building where there are vacant spaces. The B1 regulations, as I mentioned, do not allow for laundromats. And there are a number of uses which, when the city revised the B1 regulations, they removed the permitted uses. So that would, for example, would be a car wash, any drive-through option, laundromats. There was a series of uses that the city decided were not commensurate with the goals that the city had for the downtown area. And so B1 is a much narrower list of uses, if you will, than B2. The B2 regulations allow for car washes, they allow for vehicle sales, they allow for drive-throughs, and they allow for laundromats. B2 zoning is the type of zoning that you see on Hughes Road, see on County Line Road, and I would say in a typical commercial setting throughout the city. Staff is concerned about diluting and reducing the downtown node and allowing for uses, even though it's on the other side of Sullivan, that are not going to advance the city's goals. So while we're not opposed to a laundromat per se, we wouldn't want a car wash or, you know, a drive-through restaurant going across the street on Sullivan Street opposite historic buildings and opposite of the pedestrian character that we're trying to create. So we think that rezoning the area on the west side goes contrary to what the city did back in 2014 and really would undermine the city's goals for the area. And I would note, as I mentioned, we're certainly not opposed to laundromats, but I did a quick look on Google, and there's one laundromat in the city, and it's only just over a mile away from this property. So one of the things that the applicant had made a statement at the Planning Commission was that, you know, there would be a need for a laundromat in the area. And I found it interesting that the only laundromat in Madison is relatively close to this property. It's just off of Arlington, near where the old-time pottery is, behind the Wells Fargo. We have a lot of dry cleaners throughout the city, but there is only one laundromat that comes up in Google that I could find. So staff is not recommending, the approval of this zoning map amendment. When we went to the planning commission, did vote 4-3 to support the change. However, after the meeting, one of the commissioners, did tell me that their vote was in error because we weren't supporting it. So when they voted in support of the motion, they thought they were supporting staff's recommendation. But under Robert's Rules of Order, motions are made in the affirmative. So the motion was made to approve it, and they voted for it, but they thought they were voting against it. So the record is that it got approved by Planning Commission from a 4-3 vote, but again, the Planning Commissioner after the fact said that their vote was in error. I believe the applicant is present. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. The final comment would be, other than the applicant, we didn't have anybody come to the Planning Commission hearing.
All right, thank you, Mary Beth. With that, we'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to come forward and speak on the matter? I think from the developer, we'll give a little bit of extra time per our policy. Anyone else will get 5 minutes, so.
And I brought these, and y'all probably don't, it's just a copy of the subdivision.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Tommy Johnson. I was the original developer of the Gin Oak subdivision, and what we would, if you didn't approve the change of zoning, which I understand, is there a way that a variance could be approved so that this facility could be opened in this space that I have? And we've worked with the city of Madison, and I hadn't thought about this in years, but when you have the event downtown, we've got 67 parking places, and we've always opened it up for y'all to use them, so.
Well, we appreciate that.
So, but anyway, I actually did this development in 1987, and then we built the original building in 1997, 24 years ago, for the Kids Freedom Station. And then we opened our second location of Johnson Pool out here. When it closed, then we put Point Dance, rented half of it, and now we got this other second half. So, you got any questions?
I don't know, sir. I don't think so.
Okay. And Richard Conklin is here if you got any questions about, because the word laundromat, a lot of people have one thing in mind, and this one that they're putting there is, Richard can answer a lot of questions if you have any, that it's more of a up-to-date and very modern, and they've actually even got a room there where if somebody had students with them, they can actually have a place to study while they're there. So.
Okay.
I know that I have a lot to add. I don't think we were aware of the fact that the vote was in error before, and we also thought that this was not for a zoning change, that it was for a variance to allow that particular use there, since the planning group didn't have any objection to that use. So I was really surprised tonight when it was saying that this was a request for the change of the zoning. We understood that these other uses would not maybe be what you'd want to have there. You would want to have a drive-through in a walkabout area. So the thing that's being put in there, the infrastructure alone is about $500,000 before they put the equipment in. You're going to have a study room for children, to be doing their lessons. I don't have any financial interest in that operation. I have one of those identical operations, except it's not large enough to accommodate the kids' study room in a shopping center that I have in Athens, and I'm very happy with the way that turned out. I turned down 44 CBD stores in favor of, and I've got an Athens nutrition store, and then I've got a Hibbett's and pizza and nails and Cato's, But we were kind of surprised, I think, tonight that this was, we didn't intend for it to be a change of zoning. we were hoping that we were gonna have a variance that would allow this particular use there. The people that are doing it are very responsible, and they have done a lot of things throughout the entire metropolitan area. And I don't know where we go from here. I didn't actually expect to speak tonight, but, hello. And I've got a minute and 13 seconds that I don't need. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Anyone else liking to speak to council on this? All right, with that, seeing none, we'll, close the public hearing and open the council for any thoughts or emotion.
Move to approve. So that's in the affirmative. We're voting to approve it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Comments from the council?
So, I guess, right off, this is actually in my district, so naturally I'm concerned about how it does affect downtown and that walkability type thing, getting traffic in and out of there. Is there enough parking even for something like this in that area?
Oh, we would have to evaluate the parking. We haven't evaluated the use because this is just for a zone change.
Right.
So I don't know. There's quite a bit of parking on the property, but it may be fine, but don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess for that use, for going to...
Yeah. I wouldn't expect there would be a parking issue there.
Okay.
Mhm.
When you talk variance versus, can you give us an idea of what that would look like if they were to vote no and then let them come back to try to get a variance?
Yeah, that's not an option, but, so we actually had met with them, at the very beginning of this project. They had submitted, or someone submitted a building permit to put a laundromat in. And we caught that and said, well, a laundromat's not a permitted use. So we actually met with Mr. Crunkleton, Mr. Johnson, and went over what their options were. We explained the fact that use variances are not allowed, and that their two options were to change the zoning or to change the zoning text. So changing a zoning is what the action that they chose, which is to change the property back to B2 zoning. To change the text, which was another option we described to them, they could have pursued a text amendment whereby laundromats might be allowed in B1 zoning under certain circumstances, right? You have to be located, for example, on an arterial, or you have to have X size property. Our goal would be to make sure that a laundromat wouldn't locate on Main Street in downtown. We wouldn't think that would be the highest and best use, right, in downtown, or on Martin Street for that matter. And so those were the two options that they had. They chose to pursue the zoning map amendment. And I believe we also had conversation at the Planning Commission about these options as well. But a use variance isn't allowed by law. Yeah.
Make sure we got that. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we put up the map that you showed with the pink, region?
I would if I could. I'm not in control of
Okay.
the wheel tonight. Let's go back one, please. And another, and another, and another. That one?
Okay, yes. So the portion that, could you point to the portion that we're looking at that is
This?
Try the other way, if you would.
I'm sorry?
That way.
Behind you.
Yeah.
This one?
It's outlined in yellow.
Okay, so if you were to change it from B1 to B2, does that mean everything that's in pink would have to change?
No, only that property. So all that's before you is that rectangle this evening. And the property did used to be Zone B2. But in our analysis, again, as you know, we're concerned about undoing what the city decided it wanted to do back in 2014 when it changed the zoning, trying to enhance the downtown area. And also we view it as a domino. In other words, you know, the property to the north, somebody could come along and want to rezone that property. It may not happen. And certainly we wouldn't recommend denying this just because of what might happen. We think on its own it's not something we should support. But it's worth mentioning, right, that if you find that rezoning this property to B2 makes sense, it sort of begs the question why the other two properties couldn't be rezoned. And we're just concerned about what is going to, again, potentially locate across the street, especially that corner property, which is rather undeveloped, right? It's underdeveloped, I should say. We wouldn't want a car wash to go there. We wouldn't, frankly, want a drive-through restaurant to go there. Again, we're not opposed to laundromats per se. It's just the location and all of the other uses that come with B2 zoning that we have a problem with.
And could you remind me what is to the north of the square?
There is a service garage. Pardon?
It's the Express Oil.
Yeah.
Tire or
Yeah.
oil place?
Right. And so that, I'm sorry.
Was that grandfathered in?
It is, yeah. So it's considered a legal non-conforming use, and they get to continue on, and, you know, obviously that use or that property could recycle. If it recycled to something else, it would need to comply with the B1 zoning. But right now, it gets to continue as is.
So if it no longer functions as a tire oil place,
Mhm.
then it would have to, the next development would have to be B1 unless we change it.
That's right.
Is a pawn shop able to move into B2?
Into B2, we don't list pawn shops specifically as a permitted use. So we take the position, for the most part, that if a use is not permitted, it's not allowed, because the code is a permissive code. There's some debate about that, because there's a general catch-all for retail sales, and one could argue that a pawn shop is a retail sale. So there's some things that we are hoping to clean up in our zoning ordinance update. But right now, we've generally taken the position that they're not allowed.
Okay.
Mary Beth?
Yes.
There are two, tenants in this building.
Mhm.
So would this apply to both tenants in the building, or would you
Yes.
divide the,
Right, the zoning applies to the property itself, irrespective if there's a building on it or not.
so the, I think it's a dance
It's a
place?
dance, it's a
It's
dance, they sell
outfit
dancewear and so forth.
place,
yes.
okay.
Mhm.
So that zoning for that business would change also?
Well, in effect, yes. The zoning applies to the property and whatever is on the property. There are retail sales, that's permitted in B2. I don't think that the changing the zoning would have any material effect on the business itself, but what it would do is change who could be located in the building with
So
the
if they
business.
decided to relocate,
Mhm.
then the next business that moved in could do any of the allowed uses within B2?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any other comments?
Where exactly is this property in regards to that apartment complex that's on the other side of the road?
It's basically,
Catty corner or is it
just a
Northwest.
little bit north. Can you go back to the aerial towards the beginning of the presentation, please? Oh, there you go. You can see, I don't know if this pointer work yet. Right here is the avenue. That's the new project.
Okay. So it's not really right across the street or anything?
No, it's just down a
Down the
little ways.
street.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels a lot closer actually when you're out there, but we have, this building right here at the corner of, Main and Sullivan is getting renovated, or right here, excuse me. At Main Street and Sullivan is being renovated right now. This is a vacant property, which hopefully will get redeveloped. I mean, I think that there's lots of opportunities to get investment in that area, especially now that we've got the avenue going and we've got some other projects going. We just want the right projects to be downtown and to complement downtown.
So it sounds like a business that the city could use, since we only have one other.
A mile away, but,
But,
and there was actually, you approved a rezoning, you may recall, I guess it was about a year ago now, maybe a little bit longer, that was at the corner of Wall Triana and Gillespie. It was a 4-acre I believe it was Gillespie. It's a 4-acre property that got rezoned. And the person who was the proponent of that was going to put a laundromat in that location. It's the same person who wants to put a laundromat here. And so we were a little surprised when this one came up because the laundromat at Waltriana hasn't gone forward. But in that case, he'd have to build a whole new building. So it's probably easier to try and put a laundromat in an existing.
Okay, so before I call for a vote, since we screwed this up or had a screw up in planning commission, I want to make sure everybody understands. So we had a motion for, the motion, what is on the table is to vote for the rezoning. So if you agree with the rezoning, you vote yes. If you don't, you vote no.
And to follow up, I think the mayor asked this question, but if the vote doesn't pass, there is an opportunity to tighten up the language of B1 and B2.
They could request to amend the zoning ordinance, and they could come up with some draft language. We would look at that and make suggestions ourselves, and they could come forward with that request if they wanted to.
Okay.
All right, that I'll call for a vote, please.
Councilmember Powell?
Nay.
Councilmember Spears?
Nay.
Councilmember President Shaw? Councilmember Robleski? Councilmember Bartlett?
Nay.
Councilmember Denzine?
Nay.
Councilmember Seifert?
Nay. Motion fails.
All right, your next item is proposed ordinance 2021-365, and this is to rezone property that is on Slaughter Road. It was part of that same PowerPoint. There we go. And this is a request to rezone 16 acres from R1A to Ag. It's on the west side of Slaughter. And if we can go to the next slide, please. It's not working. Yeah. So just this afternoon, a little bit before 3 o'clock, we received a request to continue this item to February 14th. Just as by way of background, at the Planning Commission meeting, which was held in November, we had a lot of public comment and a lot of concern about this property. As a result, the applicant held a community meeting nearby this property last Thursday. We were not able to attend because it was a Planning Commission hearing night. But as a result of that conversation, the applicant has decided that they just want to rezone a portion of the 16 acres, which is this little piece right here. So this is 3 acres. This other piece is 13 acres. So their initial request has been to rezone this entire property because it was owned by the same entity. So they acquired all 16 acres. And normally when we're looking at rezoning, we just rezone the whole thing. And so that's what they were requesting to do, to rezone it to Ag, to allow an assisted living facility with 48 beds. But again, as a result of the community meeting, they said, well, we really only plan on putting this building on this 3-acre parcel, so there's no need to rezone the rest of it. So their attorney notified us this afternoon that they'd like to continue the request so that it can be re-advertised for just the 3 acres. We are recommending that you continue this item without opening the public hearing tonight. As I mentioned, we had gotten a lot of interest from the community. We had received a lot of emails for the Planning Commission meeting. And so we reached out to all of those folks by email this afternoon, just saying that the request had been received. We couldn't guarantee that you all would continue it. We did let them know that there was a chance you might take action on the item tonight, but we did let them know what the applicant was requesting and why. So I don't know if there are people who would want to speak tonight, but we would recommend you hold off on the public hearing and just continue it till February 14th, and we'll re-advertise.
Well, I know we have a couple of people that's been here for an hour and a half that wanted to speak specifically for that, but
okay.
I don't think
So if you want, you can open the public, as long as they understand that we're not asking you to take action and that the request is being revised for just the 3 acres. And that will come back on February 14th. If you want to still open the public hearing, you may, but then you would just reopen the public hearing on the 14th.
Would y'all like to speak tonight, or y'all want to come back on the 14th, or? Yeah, absolutely. You've sat here for an hour and a half. I hate to tell you, you can. I want to be respectful of your time also.
Could I ask
Yeah.
Mary Beth one question?
Yeah. So, I'll open that in just 1 minute.
So you're telling us the revised request would leave the rest of it residential?
Yes, it would.
R1?
Yes,
And then it's only the 3-acre parcel that would be ag?
that's what they're requesting, yes.
Okay, all right, I just want to understand what the revision is.
So we'll open the public hearing, and anyone like to address council? You can just give that card to Miss Lisa whenever you get done.
Oh, I had,
I think you have the card.
No, I gave it back to him.
Oh, okay.
You need the card from them on that? Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so, my name is Karen Dodds, and I live on Roy Drive. And, we are definitely against the rezoning, regardless of whether it's 16 or 3 acres. Afraid that, as with the downtown area, allowing a rezoning eventually chips away bit by bit at the residential area. I don't feel like that the best use of the land is to put a business in the middle of a neighborhood, and it's backing up to people's homes, it's in their backyards. There's also a concern about the Mountain View Trailer Park and Storage Area that is directly across the street from this land on Slaughter Road. All of the trailers have been moved, storage area emptied out, no idea what's going in there. So you would have 2 businesses coming out on 2-lane road. At the Planning Commission meeting for rezoning, there was a fairly lengthy discussion about the fact that Slaughter Road is already very heavily trafficked and congested, and everyone was aware of it. They said that there was no immediate plans to resolve the issue. So I was wondering why the Planning Commission approved the rezoning when this is just going to add to the congestion. And if it does get rezoned, before, when there was the, changes to Slaughter Road by Highland Lakes, subdivision that's going in just north of Highland Lakes, and the Zen Gardens apartments, that would shut down 1 lane of Slaughter Road in the afternoons. So people like me coming home from work, they're stuck in traffic for an hour, and I just work at Intergraph or Hexagon. It takes me 15 minutes, and I'm now stuck in traffic. There's only so many ways to get to my area. I would just ask, even if you're not voting this time, just to think about whether, if this was your neighborhood, if this was your backyard, if this was across the street or next to you, would you want a business placed there?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just right here. Right here, the clerk, Miss Lisa.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to continue, but they've been here an hour and a half. I said they'd go ahead and talk.
Okay, okay. Absolutely.
Good evening. I'm Jim Hanson. I've lived down Roy Drive for 31 years now. Karen is my next door neighbor, and we came en masse to the November hearing at the Planning Commission, and all voiced our opinion, which was all negative. And we would have been here en masse, which really would have been a fiasco since they've just blown it up. We're going to go through the whole process again. We got the wind kicked out of us when we all got an invitation to meet our new neighbors, this group, for a group meeting last Thursday. And it just seemed completely absurd that meet your new neighbors before the city council had even voted on rezoning. I'm very against changing the zoning from R1 to anything else. It's a small piece of property. Our community circles that. There's a nice little pond. It's quiet. There's room for more houses. There was recent development 15 years ago there. And I'd prefer that way over a business with a overlit parking lot, employees coming in and out, visitors to the residence. It would be probably 10 more traffic in and out of that little piece of property than if you had 5 or 6 homes built on the 15 acres, which, you know, they're gonna have spaces. They did a traffic study right after the November hearing we went to in our street on Roy, and those markers, those trackers didn't cover half of the houses on the street. So, you know, a third or a quarter of the houses on one end wouldn't cross the marker because they can go out the backside of the neighborhood. Quarter of the houses on the east side weren't covered by the markers either, which is kind of interesting that you wouldn't want to track all the traffic. And then it made me think, is there going to be an exit through our neighborhood out of that property? Because getting onto Slaughter right now is an absolute nightmare. And you guys, I understand you don't have full control. We've got Huntsville County and City of Madison who own or have pieces of Slaughter Road, and there's no plans to improve the traffic or the flow of traffic through there. It's just, I just think it would be a nightmare. Me personally, my living room, I'm retired now, so I'm in my living room a lot. I look directly south, which is right behind my neighbors that I see across the street. This is where this property is being developed, and I really would hate to see it go to a lit-up parking lot and traffic that is already in a congested area. So I appreciate your time, and I guess we'll be back for this hearing again. Thank you.
So if you think that this goes residential instead of this, if they put 35 or 40 houses on this, that's 2 cars per house. You don't think 80 cars coming in and out is going to be more traffic than this?
I'm saying with this business, I think the traffic would be much higher.
Okay.
I mean, you've got employees coming in and out and visitors coming in and out at all hours. It's not just the 7 o'clock and 4 o'clock traffic that is the real nightmare on Slaughter.
Yes, sir.
You'd have it constantly, and you'd have it up into the evening.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank y'all so much. So, we got department reports. We'll start with the building. Oh, hold on. I need to close. I'm sorry. I need to close. Oh, yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, would anybody else like to address council? If not, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion to continue.
Make a motion to continue.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine. Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
And as Dustin comes up, keep coming, I can tell you that your councilwoman is already looking at traffic. She's working with Huntsville and Madison County to have discussions on Slaughter Road. So it's not just sitting there dead. It's not moving forward at the pace we all want it to, but at least we're having discussions to talk about what can be done. Just to let you know.
Thank you, Chair.
All right, what I've got is Resolution 2022-35-R. It's awarding the bid for the dumpster services to BFI Waste Services, DBA Allied Waste, Republic Services, in the amount of $784.89 a month for the garbage dumpsters and $784.89 for the recycling dumpsters. That's to be paid from the...
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine. Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Dustin. Engineering. Got more than the consent agenda had tonight.
I know it.
All right, so I got 4 items for your consideration. Item number 1 is resolution number 2022-33R, requesting approval for professional services agreement with Garver and preparation of the joint replacement plans on the Madison Boulevard Bridge over Bradford Creek in the amount of $16,943.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Motion passes.
Item number 2 is resolution number 2022-36R, requesting approval of change order number 1 in the amount of $48,074.39 for the Balch and Gillespie roundabout, with Wiregrass.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion?
What exactly is in this change order? Can you
Yeah, I can.
give a little quick discussion so everybody knows what we're approving?
So when we were in construction, there were some items that came up once we had the road fully closed. And in order to keep everything moving and not completely shut the contractor down, there were 4 items that, well, there were 5 items. So one was we had a plan bust as far as our elevation grades that we had to get a correction on. There was additional traffic control that was needed. We did an inlet modification. There was additional excavation that was needed due to subgrade that wasn't adequate for the base of the new roadway. And then temporary striping was also added.
Okay, thank you.
Man, that's a lot of technical kind of stuff right there.
Yeah. Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Motion passes.
We've asked her to bring pictures for you from now on, just so you know.
Yeah, if y'all can get me a coloring book too with some crayons, probably help me.
Item number 3 I have is resolution number 2022-34R. It's requesting authorization to purchase a prefabricated stormwater pump from Jim House and Associates in the amount of $250,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert. Excuse me.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes.
So item number 4 is resolution number 2022-40R. It's requesting approval of change order number 3 in the amount of $29,587.12 for the Short Street widening project with Rogers Group.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Can I get the vote?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before you go, Michelle, excuse me, could you just give us a quick update on Hughes? I was gonna mention it during my comments before and forgot.
Right now, I'm still vetting through the utility conflicts. I've got them identified, but I've got to determine the extent, in order to prepare a change order to request from the contractor.
Okay, thank you. I'm still getting all sorts of questions, so I promised I'd ask.
Thank you. And fire.
Just one item, I'd like to request your approval of resolution number 2022-038R to authorize the purchase of a Bauer air compressor from Sunbelt Fire in the amount of $69,931.88 from the approved budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Can I get is there any discussion? If not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes. Thank you, Chief. Planning.
We've missed you.
All right. You have
Been a while.
another, pardon?
It's been a while.
It has, I missed you. Another presentation coming up soon. Here we go. Your first item is proposed ordinance 2022-30, and this is for vacation of utility and drainage easement. You can see it's called out there in red. This is just a first reading, so we're not asking for action, but by way of background, we have a hotel project that's approved for this property, and, this is a cleanup item. Their site plan has been approved. This is a property that is, right on Intergraph Way, just adjacent to the interstate, kind of behind the Advanced Auto Parts store that's on Madison Boulevard. So we'll be back for you, next meeting for approval, hopefully.
All right.
All right. The next item. Next slide, please. Thank you. We have Resolution 2022-31-R. This is to approve the Silver Apartments site plan. This property is located at the southeast corner of Town Madison Boulevard and St. Louis Street. The property is just shy of 28 acres. That is the wrong aerial, but all right, we'll keep moving. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. So here's the property. They are proposing 363 apartment units. As you can see, 60% of them are one bedroom. A little over 35% are two bedroom, and 4% are three bedroom. There are 10 buildings overall within the project. There is a commercial component to this project, which is located in two buildings. Building 1 is the building that's at the corner of Town Madison Boulevard and St. Louis Street. I'll point it out to you here. This is Building 1 here. And in this building, they have on the ground floor, there's a co-working space, fitness area that's in the dark red area, and then the pinkish area includes cafe, club room, a commercial kitchen, the administrative offices, lobby area, mail room, things of that nature. The general public, as well as residents of this project, are able to buy memberships into the co-working space, so it functions like a WeWork kind of a concept. So when you buy a membership, you can participate or you can use the fitness area, the co-working space. You can also use all of the outdoor amenities, the commercial kitchen, the club room. So basically, all of the ground floor there. And then the rec areas in that large blue square. There's a pool, outdoor cookout area, patios, and things of that nature. There's another commercial component, which is that smaller red rectangle to the right along St. Louis Street. And that consists of 4 live-work units. The commercial component of those live-work units is about 3,600 square feet. The WeWork fitness area is about 22,000 square feet. So in total, the commercial component of the project is just shy of 26,000 square feet. There are some other amenities in the project as well. There's a dog/car wash. There are bike racks throughout, and there will be sidewalks throughout this project as well. These are the elevations. Your action would be on the site plan. You're not actually approving the elevations, but we're providing them so you can have a sense of the character of the project. Most of these buildings are a 4-story building. However, there's 20 units that are in a 3-story product. Hey, my clicker's working. The 3-story units are right here, and these are all the 4-story units. We have 5 remaining contingencies on this project. As you know, with other site plans, you've considered occasionally there are some cleanup items on the plans that have to be taken care of before staff would be asking Council President to sign and before different departments would sign off. So we have 5 contingencies remaining. We've been working very closely with the applicant's civil engineer over the last several days, trying to resolve them. So we feel generally very good about the project and how the drainage works and all of that. We're just very detail-oriented and have a few items that we still want some additional details, and these are provided for you. They pertain to primarily to detention, to the detention pond, which is right here. And with that, we are available to answer questions. We are recommending that you approve the site plan. And before I close, I wanted to let you know that Mr. Larry Silver, owner of the company that would be developing this project, is here with his team. He is happy to answer any questions, and just
Keep going, keep
all
turning.
the way over there, Mr. Silver. So he's happy to, answer any questions that you may have or go over his company if you would like.
Let's get a motion before we start discussion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I had some questions about the retention of water. We've had some issues there before. One of the things we've done, and also, the contingencies, were tonight we approved having some outside engineering that helps with this. So that, having that expertise and this, separate set of eyes has kind of changed my mind a little bit on it. And as long as we pass this with the contingency, I'm good.
I will say that our engineering staff is very, very proficient when it comes to hydrology and hydraulics. And for the number of meetings that we have had with the civil engineers, I feel very confident if our engineers are saying, this is all that's left and we feel good about the project, we can move it forward to you for a decision. I feel very comfortable with that because we've had exhaustive conversations.
Yeah, and I have as well, and those conversations were good. So I'm confident that we're okay with water.
I met with engineering this morning also, and everything, it looked great, especially with these contingencies, once we get them all buttoned up.
I have a question for Mr. Silver, if he's willing to come forward. Good evening. I had a question because as we're growing in Madison and as we were being asked to approve higher density properties, one thing that I have seen other cities do is work with developers to provide a discounted rate for their first responders, like police and fire. Have you developed any properties where that was offered in other places?
We do it at all of them.
Fantastic.
It's a policy of ours to do that. Usually we try to have a police officer living on site, so that's the goal everywhere at a much discounted rate. And we're very sensitive and proud of what I heard here tonight of the first responders, and it's great to hear that, and we are a supporter of that. So it is something. And I thank you tonight for being allowed to be here. And if I can, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our company.
Sure.
Absolutely. I don't want to take a lot of time because I'm very respectful. So, Mayor Finley and City Council, Mary Beth and your staff, I really appreciate being here. We do have 3 executives other than myself from our company here, 2 from the Breland's companies, and Jeff Mullins, who is also here. I want to I want to add one thing. The 3-story units are 3-story townhomes. So that's why they're 3 stories. They're not walk-up apartments. It's freestanding townhomes that you will lease. We have been in business since 1941. One thing I can assure you, that this property is called the Silver Collection Signature Series. We invest a lot of money in these projects, and this is not to say anything against any other project, but our goal, and we came to this community because of the demographics. It's very similar to other places that we have built in that are, for example, Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., that has a lot of government contractors and government and military, and the income level. And we are going to bring a lifestyle that is equal to none in this whole community. So that's the reason for the large amenity facilities. There are memberships. Our tenants are required to belong, but also we try to bring in a lot of outside members. And it's really, we give free breakfast, continental breakfast every morning at these facilities, and we have full-time entertainment directors. So it's really a wonderful place to live, work, and play, and a great amenity for here. The other thing I would like to mention is we build these to keep long-term. We keep these properties for decades. We are not in the business of building and flipping them. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but As you probably know, most apartments today are built by one group and a short time after they're sold. That's not what we're looking to do, and we are hoping to become good corporate citizens, build several projects here. We've done a lot of other type of businesses. I would appreciate you going to our website under Silver Companies. There is one gentleman here who's known me for a long time. I didn't ask him to come here, but he happens to be here, Sherry. You're welcome to ask him anything you want about us. I have no idea what he's going to say. But he did a great job in Fredericksburg, Virginia, my hometown, which we've done a lot of business in. We're headquartered in Florida today, but we're still very active there. And he was the head of the chamber there. So you are really fortunate to have Chip here in this community. I wanted to say that. It's very important to us to give back to communities that we come to, and you will learn that if we become part of the city of Madison, we will be generous to the organizations that need help.
That's great to hear.
Here to answer any other questions.
I do have one follow-up. I wanted to make sure I was clear that I was not speaking of just a courtesy officer at one location. That is something that is common. What I'm really focused on is it's challenging to find housing, and particularly as prices go up, our police and fire, some developers do give a discounted rate for a certain number of units so that it would help us with recruiting. It would help us with the salaries that they make to help them find housing and live in the communities that they serve and protect. So I was talking about more than just a courtesy officer.
I was just mentioning the courtesy officer.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. It's in your interest to have them there.
100%.
Thank you.
Very good.
Any other questions? We're here.
No, sir.
And thank you very much for giving us the opportunity and for us to be able to become part of this community.
Absolutely.
And, came myself, so to give the assurance of that we will be great corporate citizens.
And one of the few folks that's ever called and said, can we set up a meeting via Zoom where we can, in this case it was Zoom, where you guys could talk and listen to who the fabric of the community is. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the answers to my own questions, but our lawyer does, and so she knew the answer to the question that he was going to ask, because it is critical to understand what's important for Madison. So knowing that you guys do take care of some of those things, your ratio of apartments that we talked about that's critical for us, so many one-bedroom versus three-bedroom, and then the amenities that are there that we don't have, the workspace. And so I do appreciate the fact that you guys called and asked those questions as you were putting this together. And then, you end and overcoming Chip and knowing Chip again and spoke highly of you guys to start with. So thank you guys for your efforts.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion? If not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski. Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes. Kent with Public Works, you're up. Corey, you're on deck. Get ready.
The big one right here, Kent.
Yeah, man, you setting a record for tonight, buddy.
I have one for your consideration, resolution 2022-012-R. It's awarding our bid for the asphalt paving to Mid-South paving in the amount of approximately $4,191,651. It'll be paid from departmental budget. This is a 3-year contract, so we stretched out over 3 years for citywide paving. Will not only be my budget, but it'll come out of collector roads and neighborhood paving as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I like the fact you specified it ain't coming out of your budget at all, and it ain't all this year.
Kent, am I correct in saying that this gives you more control in many instances over scheduling?
Correct.
Okay, and then I guess I'll ask the question everyone wants to know, would this include something like Highland Drive, and at what point, when would that go?
As soon as we can make it happen.
As soon as you pass this and you're gonna start working on it. All right, that's what I was hoping to hear.
Okay, you're my favorite person tonight. I'm going to be so pleased to give the update about, I think Miller-Mahon is still first before Highland. Is that
They're
still?
all together. They'll go.
It's all going to happen at once?
Mobilization in that area.
So when would that occur if we approve this?
Weather's very much a factor in this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I can't put you a date on it, if you'd be disappointed, so.
Well, if you say anything past tomorrow, it's disappointing for her.
Probably ain't gonna be this week, it's gonna get cold.
Correct.
We'll go as soon as we can, so.
Okay.
Okay, so this also covers shoes too, right?
Whatever we got money to pay.
Did we run
You
out?
take it out of everybody's budget, you'll be in good shape.
All right. Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski, Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes. Thank you, Kent.
Here comes my favorite person of the night. Sorry, Megan.
Good evening. I have resolution 2239-R approving change order number 2 in the amount of $6,463 for Dublin Park HVAC unit. This is for the project, of the pool HVAC system. We've ordered the unit a year in advance. It's hard to hold contractors to a quote to install. They recommended we go ahead and purchase the ductwork because the price of the duct material is going sky high. Be happy to answer any questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski, Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes. Thank you so much, Corey. Is there any miscellaneous business or announcements? Move to adjourn.
Move.
So be it.